During the Cold War, my girlfriend made a social media post. A single like meant we'd break up. I silently liked it, fulfilling Suwon's wish for a breakup. From then on, I deliberately avoided Suwon and never returned to that city. At gatherings with our mutual friends, it was always either her or me. No one knew what had actually happened between us. It wasn't until many years later, when I had to attend a cross-regional conference, that I revisited the old place. A friend, however, dragged me to a class reunion. At the party, everyone joked, "Are you planning to get back together with Suwon now that you're back? Everyone knows you've been her shadow all these years, crying every night while holding the things you left behind." Suwon sat across the table, silent, but her eyes were red. As for me, I just silently tightened my grip on the wine glass in my hand. My buddy noticed my dark expression and quickly walked over, shooting everyone a glare. "Don't you guys know? Back then, Brother Yu Ming almost died from altitude sickness." Suwon swapped his oxygen with helium just to amuse her junior. As he spoke, the lively atmosphere instantly froze. I will never forget it. I was a specially invited photographer for National Geographic, tasked with shooting the cover photo on Meili Snow Mountain. Halfway up the climb, I felt short of breath and weak, my temples throbbing. I realized these were symptoms of altitude sickness. I quickly took out my spare oxygen canister and took a deep breath. But as the gas entered my lungs, I immediately knew something was wrong. I turned to my fiancée beside me. "What is this?" Unexpectedly, when I spoke, my voice came out distorted, like a comical Donald Duck. The sound sent my fiancée and her junior into fits of laughter. "Ha ha ha. Donald Duck. Oh my god, that's hilarious." They were laughing so hard they could barely stand. The junior even theatrically pounded the snow. I instantly understood. To prank me, they had secretly swapped my life, saving oxygen with helium. When they finally had their fill of laughter, I forced myself to say to my fiancée, "Oxygen. Give me the spare oxygen." My fiancée wiped away her tears of laughter, and waved her hand dismissively. "How do you him, Frill?" I gave all the spare oxygen to him. "You're strong. You can just endure it." I didn't argue with her. With a trembling hand, I pulled out my satellite phone. "Editor-in-Chief Liu, my spare oxygen was maliciously swapped. I'm experiencing severe altitude sickness. Please arrange for a rescue team to pick me up immediately." As soon as I finished speaking, my fiancée, Suwon, snatched the satellite phone from my hand. Seeing the sent distress signal, her face flushed with anger, and then she scoffed disdainfully. "Photographer Joe, aren't you overreacting? You inhaled a little helium, it was just a joke. Is it necessary to call for rescue? Do you have any idea how long we've been preparing for this shoot? You can't even handle a little altitude sickness." She was about to throw the satellite phone into a nearby ice crevasse. I grabbed her wrist tightly. The intense headache and nausea from the altitude sickness were making my vision go black. She and her junior, Xiao Yu, were both wearing oxygen masks and carrying ample spare oxygen tanks, their faces rosy. I was the only one helplessly clutching that ridiculous, heavy helium canister. Xiao Yu walked up to me, his voice laced with false concern. "Brother Zhao, don't blame my senior. It's my fault for being so weak. I'm already out of breath after climbing this little. My senior said you're a veteran high-altitude photographer, so this altitude is nothing to you." As he spoke, he took a satisfying breath of oxygen, and gave me a provocative look. For this cover shoot, I had specifically asked someone in a high-altitude military unit to get me military-grade high-concentration oxygen, which could greatly alleviate altitude sickness. Now, it was strapped to this delicate junior's back. Suwon reached out to adjust his backpack strap, her tone gentle. "He's just arrogant, because he's a little famous and can't take any hardship." When she turned to look at me, the impatience in her eyes was almost overflowing. "Can you stop acting? I've done my research. Altitude sickness is just a psychological effect. If your willpower is strong enough, you can get through it. It's not that serious. That high-grade oxygen tank of yours is just for psychological comfort anyway. It's incredibly heavy. Xiao Yu is the future core of the studio. If he's not feeling well and it affects the shoot, the loss will be much greater than yours." With trembling hands, I reached for the emergency altitude sickness medicine in the outer pocket of my backpack, only to find it empty. Suwon seemed to remember something, then immediately pulled my medicine box from Xiao Yu's pocket, took out 2 pills, and put them in his mouth. "Let Xiao Yu have these," said the backup. "Look at you, you can still stand and fight for phone. You're not that fragile. Do you really think you're some national treasure photographer? You can't even handle this little bit of hardship." Her self-righteous attitude was more suffocating than the thin air. my custom oxygen, my emergency medicine, all had become her gifts to please her junior. The other assistants quietly adjusted their equipment, pretending not to see the conflict. I was like a patient whose oxygen supply had been cut, struggling helplessly on the brink of death. Acute altitude sickness can cause pulmonary and cerebral edema. It can be fatal. I squeezed the words out from between my teeth. Pulmonary edema. Who are you trying to scare? Su-won rolled her eyes. Zhao Yu cooperatively shrank behind her. Brother Zhao, I know you don't like me much, but my senior said you're very experienced. A small scene like this is definitely no problem for you. After he spoke, he even winked at the GoPro camera on his collar. I looked at him, his face infuriating me to the point of fainting. Enough, I reached out to grab my oxygen tank back. Su-won pushed me hard. I stumbled and almost fell. What are you doing? If something happens to Xiao Yu, can you take responsibility? Zhao Yu immediately clutched his chest, his voice growing weak. Senior, I think I'm feeling unwell again. Maybe I shouldn't have come. Does brother do you think I am stealing his thunder? It's not your fault, he's just too selfish. Su-won quickly supported him, comforting him gently. He's just spoiled, thinking the whole world has to revolve around him. The wind and snow seemed to intensify, blurring my vision. I watched them, like a pair of lovers, huddling together for warmth, completely disregarding me, her nominal find. Extreme anger, and the icy sensation from lack of oxygen intertwined. I violently smashed the helium canister in my hand against a nearby ice rock. I shouted, Su-won, we're done, the engagement is off. Su-won was stunned for a moment, then her face contorted with anger. She stepped forward, her voice shrill. Ju-main, are you insane? You want to call off the engagement over such a small thing? Do you know what you're saying? A small thing. I practically squeezed the sound from my lungs. Swapping my life, saving oxygen is a small thing. Zhao Yu immediately stepped forward, his voice trembling. Senior, don't be angry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't be so weak. Brother Ju must be saying that in anger because he dislikes me. He looked at me, but a hint of triumph was hidden in his eyes. On Mountain Guide, Brother Lee couldn't stand it anymore. He frowned and tried to mediate. Miss Su, Mr. Ju really doesn't look well. Altitude sickness is no joke. Maybe. Brother Lee, you don't understand. Su-won interrupted him rudely, her tone firm. He just lacks exercise, and loves to be dramatic. When has he not made a big deal out of nothing on a shoot? Last time in the Gobi Desert, he got heat stroke and made the whole team wait for him. Now he's doing it again. Her words were like icicles stabbing me. That time in the Gobi, I almost died from heat stroke trying to capture the perfect light. But in her eyes, it was just making a big deal. Yeah, another female assistant who was close to Su-won chimed in quietly. Teacher Zhao, she's just thinking of the big picture. Zhao Yu is a newcomer, and it's his first time on such a difficult project. It's only right to take more care of him. You're experienced. You can just bear with it. I looked at them, my vision blurring even more from physiological tears. Bear with it. How do you expect me to bear with it? My lungs felt like they were filled with cement. My heart was pounding frantically against my chest. The veins in my temples throbbed as if they were about to explode. These were the precursors to cerebral and pulmonary edema. I knew it all too well. Seeing this, Zhao Yu looked as if he had been greatly wronged. His voice trembled with tears. Brother Zhao, please don't be like this. I'm so scared you two will fight because of me. Why don't you take this oxygen back? I'll be fine. He pretended to take off his mask. Su-won grabbed his hand, both heartbroken and furious. Zhao Yu, oh, fully. He's just trying to force your hand. He's playing the victim. She turned to me sharply, her eyes cold and disgusted. Yu-ming, I was so wrong about you. I never thought you could be so selfish and petty, unable to tolerate even a newcomer. Do you have to have everyone revolve around you to be satisfied? When you were shooting in the snowy mountains back then, who was it that begged people to rescue you? And now, just because you're a little uncomfortable, you're going to ruin everyone's efforts. She brought up the past. The danger back then was a direct result of shooting a promotional video for her father's company. Now, it had become her evidence to condemn me. The severe headache made it impossible for me to form a coherent rebuttal. I could only stand there with my mouth agape, letting out a broken hee sound. Zhao Yu hid behind Su-won, a fleeting smirk on his lips. Then, with a worried expression, he said, Senior, Brother Ju's face looks terrifying. Could he really be? No, it's all an act, Su-won said decisively. He's a great actor. He's just trying to pressure me into giving in so he can control me more in the future. I won't let him. She took out her thermos, opened it, and held it to Zhao Yu's mouth. Here, Zhao Yu, drinks some hot water to warm up. Ignore him, just let him cool down on his own. The warm steam drifted through the air, a stark contrast to the growing coldness in my body. Despair, like the ancient ice beneath my feet, froze me layer by layer. I leaned against the ice rock, my body sliding down uncontrollably. My vision began to blur. The sight of Suwon shielding Jiao Yu, the others whispering among themselves, all became indistinct, wavering phantoms. That life-giving bottle of high-altitude medicine lay at Jiao Yu's feet, only 3 or 5 meters away from me, yet as distant as a chasm. Just then, Jiao Yu quietly squatted down in front of me. He took off his mask, his face rosy and healthy. He leaned in and whispered, in a voice only I could hear, "Photographer Joe, how does it feel to be deprived of oxygen?" A cruel smile spread across his lips. "To be honest, Senior Wan has been fed up with your controlling nature for a long time. She said you're rigid and boring, like an old man. After you accidentally pass away, your reputation, your work, and your senior. What? I'll take good care of them for you." He gently patted my cheek, his voice as cold as ice. "Don't worry, the memorial service for your death in the line of duty will be very grand." Jiao Yu's words were the final snowflake that crushed my remaining consciousness. I wanted to raise my hand to punch him, but the severe altitude sickness left me with no strength. Hopelessly, I leaned against the ice rock, feeling the warmth drain from my body. Just as my vision was about to be completely consumed by darkness, Jiao Yu, apparently not satisfied, made another move. He suddenly reached out and ripped open my down jacket. "Brother Zhao, are you too hot? Your face is so red. Let me help you cool down." Rip, the high-quality windproof fabric was torn open. My neck was instantly exposed to the sub-zero temperatures. The freezing air was like 1,000 tiny ice blades piercing my skin. I stared at him, wanting to scream but only able to make a hee sound. My body began to tremble violently from the cold. Jiao Yu quickly stepped back, his face immediately feigning panic. "Senior, Brother Jiao." He ripped his own clothes open. I couldn't stop him. Suwon heard him and turned around. Seeing my exposed chest and Jiao Yu's anxious expression, her face instantly darkened. "Diu Ming." She rushed over, her voice filled with impatience and anger. "How long are you going to keep this up? Do you have to act like you're dying for everyone to see?" She didn't give me a chance to explain, or perhaps she didn't care about the truth at all. It was him. My teeth chattered as I forced out a few words. "Enough," Suwon cut me off sharply. "It's always someone else's fault. You can't control your own emotions. And now you're resorting to self-harm to threaten us. Do you think this is fun? That this will get you sympathy? Let me tell you, it's useless. It only makes you look more pathetic." Suwon's accusations rained down on me like hailstones. She looked at me, sprawled on the snow, her eyes devoid of warmth, only thick with disgust. "Fun, you like to act, right?" she sneered, pulling her windproof mask tighter. "Then you can stay here and put on a good show. We'll rest for another 10 minutes, then continue to the next shooting location. If you can't keep up, you can stage your little tragedy here on this snowy mountain all by yourself." With that, she turned and walked away without a second thought. The others looked down, saying nothing, and began checking their equipment and discussing the route ahead. No one cared whether I lived or died. Jiao Yu shot me a contemptuous glance, a faint smile playing on his lips. I lay on the cold snow, the trembling of my body slowly subsiding. Each breath was a struggle. The pain in my lungs seemed to have gone numb. My vision grew dimmer and I could barely hear anything anymore. I could only vaguely hear the rustling of them packing their gear. Not a single person looked back. Despair was like the coldest layer of ice, freezing me completely. Perhaps this was it. Just as I had given up all hope and was ready to embrace the final darkness, an unfamiliar voice suddenly rang out. "Hey, friend, are you okay? Do you need help?" The concerned voice of a stranger pulled my fading consciousness back. I struggled to open my eyes, and saw a tall figure in a bright orange professional mountaineering suit. Behind him stood several similarly equipped teammates, looking over with concern. They looked like a professional mountaineering team. "Friend, you look like you're in bad shape. Do you need help?" The man's voice was steady and authoritative. He helped pull my ripped jacket together, his brow furrowed. "It looks like you have altitude sickness. Where are your teammates?" A strong will to live made me open my mouth, to ask for help, to tell them what happened. But all that came out of my throat was a hoarse, broken sound, like a worn-out bellows. Just then, Suwon walked over quickly, positioning herself between me and the mountaineer. "It's nothing, thank you for your concern. This is my thing. We're a shooting team." He just has a bit of altitude sickness and is having a little tiff with me. He's just being moody. Xiao Yu also chimed in, looking helpless and worried. Yes, sir. My brother isn't feeling well, and he's in a bad mood. He insists on resting here. We can't persuade him. It's okay. We'll be fine in a bit. You can go ahead. The mountaineer looked doubtfully at my pale face, then at Suwan and Xiao Yu, seeming to hesitate. Are you sure he doesn't need help? His condition looks very dangerous, he confirmed again, his gaze sharp as he looked at Suwan. No, really, we're fine. Suwan waved her hand quickly, her smile becoming even more sincere. We're professional photographers. We're used to being at high altitudes. We have experience. He's just tired and throwing a tantrum. He'll be fine after a rest. Right, Bimning. As she spoke, she even bent down and, while appearing gentle, pinched my arm hard. She whispered, Don't embarrass me. Hurry up and say you're fine. The pinch was painful, but I couldn't make a sound. I used all my strength to reach out, pleading for help, my eyes filled with desperation. But to them, my struggle probably looked like more proof that I was just being difficult. The mountaineer looked at our strange interaction, then at the filming equipment in the distance, and finally nodded. All right then. You all be careful. We just received a warning for this area. There's a risk of localized avalanches this afternoon. You should probably head down to a safe area as soon as possible. He left that warning, glanced at me one last time as if still unconvinced, but was eventually urged on by his teammates, and left. Hope, like a snuff-off flame, was gone. As I watched their orange figures disappear into the wind and snow, the smile on Suwon's face vanished. She turned around and said coldly to Zhao Yu and the other assistants, Pack up. We're leaving. What about him? A young assistant asked quietly, seeming to feel a bit of pity. Suwon glanced at me, her look like she was viewing a pile of trash. Doesn't he like to act? Then let him stay here and cool down. Ignore him. We'll go to the next spot. After we're done shooting, we'll come back and get him on our way down the mountain. Zhao Yu couldn't help but let a smirk appear on his face. Zhao Yu feigned concern and said, Senior, this isn't right. What if there's an avalanche? What if? Suwon cut him off. You tried to help him, and he blamed you instead. For an ungrateful person like him, if he dies, he brought it on himself. Her words were cold and ruthless, tinged with resentment. Still not satisfied, she glanced at Zhao Yu. Go get the spare fleece jacket and the sleeping bag from his pack. Also, see what food and water he has left and take it all. He won't be using it anyway. Let's not waste it. Zhao Yu's eyes lit up, and he nodded immediately. You're right, Senior. The shoot is more important. He eyed the single down jacket I was wearing. Senior, I'm a bit cold. Why don't I borrow Brother Ju's jacket? He's not moving anyway. We can give it back when we pick him up on the way down. Fine. Wear more layers. Don't catch a cold, Suwon agreed nonchalantly, completely indifferent to whether I would freeze to death. Excitedly, Xiao Yu started to strip the jacket off me. I don't know where I found the strength, but I clung to my clothes tightly. Seeing this, Suwon even helped Zhao Yu pin me down. In no time, my down jacket was pulled off by the two of them. Still not satisfied, Zhao Yu reached for my inner thermal layer. No, this is the last thing keeping me warm. Without it, I'll really die. I held onto my clothes, my eyes red as I glared at Suwon. But she showed no guilt at all, reaching out to help Zhao Yu pull my hands away. Let go, you're strong, you can handle it. Zhao Yu is frail, he can't get sick. Hearing this, I fell into complete despair. I let go, ready to die. Just as Suwon was about to remove my last layer of clothing, the roar of a helicopter suddenly echoed from a distance. On its side were the words National Geographic Emergency Rescue. It was Editor-in-Chief Liu. He had come himself. Attention below. Seize all actions immediately. The voice from the megaphone cut through the wind and snow. The powerful downdraft from the helicopter whipped up a blizzard. Rescue team members rappelled down swiftly. Their professional gear and calm demeanor immediately brought the situation under control. Editor-in-Chief Liu's eyes immediately fell on my pathetic state. Nearly naked and sprawled on the snow. His face turned ashen. Medical team. Immediate first aid. Severe altitude sickness and hypothermia. Prepare a hyperbaric oxygen chamber and warmed fluids. The medical team rushed over, wrapping me in a thick thermal blanket, and skillfully fitting an oxygen mask over my face. Poor body temperatures too low. Pulse is weak. Good thing we arrived in time. Another 10 minutes, and the brain damage and organ failure would have been irreversible. Suwon frantically tried to explain, it's a misunderstanding, Editor-in-Chief Liu. He was just feeling a bit unwell and throwing a tantrum. We were just about to take care of him. Jiao Yu quickly chimed in with a fake smile. Yes, editor-in-chief. Brother Zhu was just joking with us. He tore his own clothes off. We were trying to talk him out of it. Editor-in-chief Liu shot them a cold glance, his eyes like a frozen lake. Shut up. Your satellite phone distress signal and the GoPro's real-time audio transmission, receive them all. We'll talk back at the base. He pointed to a small recording device on one of the team members' vests. The helicopter's rotors were still whirring. The intense headache and nausea subsided slightly under the high-pressure oxygen, but the cold deep within my bones was still excruciating. Jiu Ming, can you hear me? Editor-in-chief Liu's voice was by my ear, a hint of urgency in it. He knelt by the stretcher, holding a tablet that was replaying a video. I could vaguely see the image of Jiao Yu kneeling in front of me. How are you feeling? Can you speak? I tried to nod, but my throat was dry and painful. A rescue doctor slowly administered a warm electrolyte solution through an IV in my arm. Don't force it. The severe altitude sickness and hypothermia have irritated your throat. Save your strength. I looked at the tablet in editor-in-chief Liu's hand, my lips trembling as I managed to get out a few words of them. The rescue team is watching them. They're on the same helicopter, but separated, he replied, his face grim. Your satellite phone has an emergency recording feature, and Jiao Yu's GoPro was on the whole time. The audio and video are very clear. I stared at the frozen image of Jiao Yu on the tablet, his face a mask of false concern hiding true malice. My heart felt as if it had been pierced by an icicle. When we landed at the emergency rescue center at the foot of the mountain, I saw Su Wan and Jiao Yu being guarded separately. Su Wan's former arrogance was gone, replaced by panic and unease. Jiao Yu was pale and trembling. As I was wheeled past, Jiao Yu suddenly looked up, his eyes filled with fear. Brother Jiao, I was wrong. Senior Su forced me to do it. She told me to swap your oxygen. She said if anything happened to you, I could become the chief photographer. Su Wan whirled around and shrieked at him. You're lying. It was your own evil idea. Don't you dare blame me. You suggested it first. Jiao Yu yelled back, panicked. They began tearing at each other like drowning dogs, revealing all their ugly, hidden motives. Editor-in-chief Liu coldly ordered the rescue team, separate them, detain, and interrogate them individually. Lying on the stretcher, I watched their twisted faces. The last embers of warmth in my heart froze over completely. The next morning, Editor-in-chief Liu arrived with the investigation team. We've recovered all the video and audio from your team's GoPros. The chain of evidence is complete. He showed me a report, which included the audio of Su Wan instructing Jiao Yu to swap my oxygen, followed by a video of her watching me struggle, completely indifferent. We also found that Su Wan was secretly transferring studio assets to a new company controlled by her and Jiao Yu. She was also in contact with several competitors. Su Wan's father, Su Zong, arrived. My boy, I heard you had a scare. Wan is young and was foolishly missile. Please, for the sake of your years together, forgive her. Editor-in-chief Liu stood up. Mr. Su, your daughter is under investigation for intentional injury and commercial fraud. Please cooperate with us. The smile vanished from Su Zong's face. Editor-in-chief Liu, there's no need to blow this out of proportion. I'm the main sponsor. We uphold the reputation of truth and justice. Editor-in-chief Liu replied firmly. I looked at Su Zong, my voice tired but cold. When she watched me on the brink of death, did she think of our relationship at all? Law enforcement officers entered and escorted Su Zong away for questioning. A week later, I was out of critical condition. Editor-in-chief Liu told me Su Wan and Jiao Yu are requesting to see you, hoping for your forgiveness to get a lighter sentence. I agreed. At the detention center, separated by thick glass, I saw Su Wan. Her former radiance was gone, replaced by haggardness and anxiety. Junming, I know I was wrong, she pleaded through tears. I was just confused for a moment. I never really meant to harm you. Please, forgive me. Can't we? I looked at her. Your mistake wasn't a moment of confusion. It was prioritizing your ambition and control over human life and principles. From the moment you allowed Jiao Yu to swap my oxygen, we were over. X came Jiao Yu. He looked even more cowardly. Brother, I regret it. Can you please put in a good word for me? I'm still young. Everyone must take responsibility for their own choices, I said, standing up. The law will deliver a just verdict. Outside, Editor-in-chief Liu informed me that Su Wan would be formally prosecuted for intentional injury and fraud, with Jiao Yu facing charges as her accomplice. On the day of my discharge, many friends and colleagues came to see me off. The guide, Brother John, also apologized. I am sorry, teacher, that I didn't stand up for you then. It's not your fault, I told him. The magazine had decided to terminate all cooperation with Suwon's father's company. However, because of the exceptional quality of the photos I had taken under extreme duress, they offered me the lead on the remainder of the Meili Snow Mountain project and a position as a long-term special photographer. We believe in your professionalism and character, editor, and Keith Liu said. I accepted the new contract, feeling a mix of emotions, but mostly a calm determination. The ordeal on the mountain hadn't broken me. It had clarified my purpose as a photographer to capture not just magnificent landscapes, but also a reverence for nature, respect for life, and a conscience that can never be abandoned. Before leaving, I visited a local mountaineers memorial. I stood before the memorial wall and bowed silently, making a promise to myself that I would continue to use my lens to seek the light and to uphold the dignity of my profession. The helicopter took off again, this time for the unexplored regions of Meili Snow Mountain. The storm had passed. The betrayal and pain were now frozen in the snow. I knew there would be more challenges ahead, but I was no longer afraid. Because I understood that as long as I held on to my faith in the light and my inner principles, no peak was insurmountable. Sunlight shone on my camera, the lens glinting. I looked at the even more majestic and pure snow-capped mountains in the distance and gently pressed the shutter for the first time. This was the new beginning born from the nightmare on the snow mountain.